everyone, and welcome to the second leg of the Clausura Tournament semifinals tonight in Liga Primera. We're here from the Estadio Independencia, home of El Tren del Norte, Real Estelí, as they take on the team you see in front of you. The lineups being announced: the Cacique of Diriange from Esteli in the north of Nicaragua. Alongside James Poovey, I'm Ben Wilson. Happy to have you along tonight, as one of these two teams will be advancing after the 90 minutes, possibly stoppage time and penalties, are over to the championship round of the Clausura tournament, taking on either Managua or Walter Ferretti. James, again, great to be with you once again tonight. As you see both teams mentally preparing for the start of the match, we saw these two teams play a really exciting back-and-forth match last weekend in the first leg. Esteli winning 1-0 at Diriamba against Diriange with a super goal from Oscar Acevedo, and that was after Esteli had gone down to 10 men with a red card from Richard Rodriguez. So given all that, James, 1-0 to Esteli after one leg. A lot of work to be done for Diriange. What are your expectations for tonight?
Well, we talked a little bit before the broadcast. Ben, a pleasure to be with you once again. Looking forward to doing this game here with you this evening. And once again, we talked about it before the broadcast. Diriange has to let it all hang out here, figuratively tonight and literally, because they've got to get something going offensively, unlike they were able to do the other against Real Estelí. And they got to get something in the net tonight and try to do it quickly, or else their season could come to a abrupt end.
Not only is there so much on the line tonight, a trip to the championship round of the Clausura tournament. The Clausura, the second half of the Liga Primera 2019-20 season. Real Estelí, they've already been crowned champions of the Apertura, which was the first half of the season. But for those who are just joining us and haven't tuned into either the first leg or some of our previous broadcasts, this is the biggest rivalry in all of Nicaragua, El Clásico Nacional. So, James, you add that on to what is already a huge matchup when you consider all that's at stake. This tonight, the 119th meeting between the two most historic and most successful teams in Nicaraguan soccer. And with that, we are underway. Esteli, El Tren del Norte in the red and whites, the home team, with Diriange, the Cacique, in the black and white. And we saw some of that rivalry derby aspect, James, certainly apparent in the first leg on Saturday night, and we'll see it apparent right here with our first foul inside the first 25 seconds.
Yeah, these guys are excited to get this one going. We mentioned the magnitude of this ball game, that the winner moves on and the loser has to have their season end here tonight. So both these teams are aware of that, and they're both going to come out here and play very hard right from the get-go, as you've seen already. 40 seconds in, and we're already got a penalty.
A free kick in a pretty good spot for Real Estelí. Took until the 74th minute to find the opener from Oscar Acevedo. It ended up being the only goal on Saturday night after Richard Rodriguez went out with a straight red card in the 68th. He's suspended tonight, along with Brandon Ayertis, suspended due to yellow card accumulation. He picked up a yellow on Saturday. So a few changes into the Esteli lineup as Fabrizio Tavano, one of those newcomers, sends in a pretty good free kick that is headed clear out for a corner. First of the night for Esteli, and a positive start for the hosts.
Yeah, it was a great job right there for Real Estelí. Diriange on the attack there, trying to get something going, as I mentioned early in the game here, but a great job fending that one off there by Real Estelí.
Garcia back from injury with the first corner, and it falls right to Yon Mosquera. Just wasn't able to get a clean touch to it, James, but he came slashing through the 18-yard box and had a wide-open look at goal.
Yeah, Mosquera came through there in a hurry, had a great head of steam, and thought he might get something going there just in front of the net. Take another look at it here. Oh, it's just right there, but just unable to connect with that one.
So a wild first couple of minutes. The free kick in a pretty good spot. Tavano, a good strike on the ball, getting a corner for Henry Garcia, who nearly picks out Mosquera in the first 2 minutes. And the things settle down a little bit. We can bring you the starting lineups if you've just joined us. Didn't see the starting 11s for both sides. Again, 3 changes from Saturday for Esteli, 2 of them out due to suspension. Brandon Ayertis missing tonight along with Richard Rodriguez. Rodriguez, he's the one who had the straight red card. Jose Quijano also out of the starting lineup, although the midfielder and one of the elder statesmen on this Esteli club is on the bench tonight. So we'll run through the rest of the starting 11. For the hosts, Esteli, Denver Fox makes another starting goal in place of Henry Maradiaga, who is serving the 3rd of a 4-match suspension tonight that he picked up for a red card after these 2 teams met 2 weeks ago, which was a 0-0 draw in the regular season in this building. And Maradiaga was given a 4-match suspension for arguing with the officials after that match was over. So he's out again tonight and would miss the first leg of the championship match if Esteli were to advance to that. So it's Denver Fox, the youngster, in goal again tonight with Manuel Rosas, Jason Casco, and Christian Gutierrez in the back 3. With Henry
how about
Garcia.
the job that Denver Fox did the other night, Ben, in goal in relief of the aforementioned Henry Maradiaga? I mean, just an outstanding job against the Diriange offense the other night.
Yeah, Diriange, they didn't have a ton of great opportunities in the first leg, but when they had looks at goal, you're exactly right, James. Denver Fox, he was up to the task. And I mentioned that sturdy back 3, same back 3 that has featured for head coach Holber Flores most of the season, at least in the Clausura for Esteli, with the midfield of Henry Garcia. He's back from an injury he picked up 2 weeks ago when these teams met in the derby, along with Yon Mascara, Harold Medina, Fabrizio Vanna, who we've already seen on the ball, and Francisco Paz in the midfield, with Jorge Betancourt and Taufik Gawarch, the 2 up top for the first-year 22-year-old Holber Flores. Again, he took over just this season, replacing his mentor, Sergio Rodriguez, who was sacked at the end of the Apertura regular season. And Flores already has a championship to his name, as Esteli won the Apertura title. And tonight, James, they're looking to make it a 5th straight appearance in the Liga Primera tournament finals, going all the way back to the end of the 2018 season when they lost to their rivals Diriange in that Clausura championship match. But ever since then, they've at least made it to the finals. A pretty incredible run for this historic club.
Yeah, Real Estelí is definitely a storied franchise for sure, especially in Nicaraguan soccer. They've been, if they advance, it would be the 5th straight time to the finals, as you mentioned, and they're actually unbeaten in their last 5 home matches. So Real Estelí definitely coming in here with an upper hand, you could say, tonight, and they're looking to get it done and move on to the finals.
Without Ayertis, a huge attacking weapon, obviously, also without Juan Barrera, who misses his 4th straight match with an injury. There's a foul taken in midfield by Jorge Betancourt. But at the same time, Esteli, they have had such a rock-solid defense. They were tied in the regular season with Diriange for the best defense. Those 2 only let up less than 15 goals. You look at it in the combined Apertura season, as well as the Clausura, just 11 goals, in fact, for Esteli in the second half of the season. So the point being, it's going to be really tough, you would think, for either side to crack the netting tonight. And Diriange, they're the side that need at least a goal to send us into extra time, as this curling ball is right into the arms of Denver Fox.
Fox doing another nice job right there in goal for the ball club. And I have a gut feeling that I might see a little Taufik Gawarch tonight make a big play for Real Estelí and be a difference maker for them, Ben.
Well, Gawarch, he does lead the team since transferring from a 2nd division side in Mexico at the midseason point. He has been fantastic in the Clausura. 5 goals to pace El Tren del Norte, and he starts alongside Jorge Betancourt at those forward spots. As we're about 7 minutes in, again, this is the 2nd leg of the Liga Primera semifinal round, and we will most likely see a lot of hard challenges, just like we saw in the first leg. A number of cards produced on both sides, and Henry Garcia, who has missed the last 2 games since being taken out with a really hard challenge about a half hour into the previous meeting in the regular season between these 2 teams, and he wastes no time picking up a card in the 8th minute.
Garcia with a very aggressive play there for Real Estelí, and Danilo Zuniga going to go down right there at the midline. Pretty hard, as you saw there on the replay. So you mentioned a moment ago, Ben, these guys are going to get after it. There's going to be a lot of hard charges coming into this game, and they're going to keep it going.
And so a busy start to the evening for Nizar Sandoval, our lead official tonight. Once again, long free kick that is aggressively taken by Denver Fox. Speaking of the goalkeepers, as we've seen both handle the ball so far, you probably saw there was a brief moment of silence right before the start of the match. We've been given some intel. Want to thank all of our contacts with Liga Primera, keeping us posted from Nicaragua. They had a minute silence for the death of Diriange's goalkeeping coach's mother. She passed away within the past week, so they held a moment of silence. And despite these two teams being bitter rivals, these are two that do certainly respect each other, and nice to see that gesture from the host tonight.
Well, good sportsmanship at its finest right there between two quality ball clubs, and it's great that they were able to pay their respects in that fashion to the family, and I'm sure they appreciated it as well.
Absolutely. In the meantime, Harold Medina nearly getting in on goal. It ended up being a pretty nice save by Ronaldo Espinoza to close off that angle for Medina.
Yeah, they were charging in quickly there on Espinoza.
So speaking of Espinoza, we can, again, if you just joined us and missed seeing the full starting 11 for Diriange, they've made 5 changes from Saturday. You can't really blame them as they get the flick on, looking to find Bryant Roman screeching forward into the box, but a good job by Christian Gutierrez to get back. There's another look at Medina. Great little move to nutmeg around Eric Tellez, the captain for Diriange, and would have been some kind of goal to open the scoring.
Boy, that would have been great right there. An excellent job in goal once again by Espinoza. He had to get on his back for that one, or excuse me, for Denver Fox, but a great job once again there for number 22.
So you have Espinoza in goal for Diriange. Kevin Gonzalez, along with David Jarquin, who's been a seldom used defender this season, but a big ask for him tonight. He steps into the back four of the 4-4-2, along with the captain, Eric Tellez, you saw a moment ago, and former Esteli player. Spent a season back in the 2017 Clausura with El Tren del Norte, playing in 17 matches. So, you know, he's feeling a little extra juice tonight, playing at the right back spot. In the meantime, Danilo Zuniga starts in midfield, along with Jonathan Zapata, Bismarck Montiel, another former Esteli player, and Tulio Lopez, with Bryant Roman up top alongside Bernardo Laureiro. Again, 5 changes. 2 of them were required. I mentioned how Brandon Ayertis outdo yellow card accumulation for Esteli. Same thing goes for Diriange with a couple of their players, as Jason Coronel and Marvin Fletes, a couple important players in the midfield, are out tonight due to yellow cards they picked up in leg 1 on Saturday, earning them 1 match suspensions. Also, Daniel Martinez, one of the youth team players, he is out of the team tonight after starting each of the last 2 matches for Diriange, with Alvaro Hernandez and Abner Acuna. They're out of the starting 11, but available on the bench tonight. So certainly a lot of changes, James, and not too surprising, you think, right, to see, given all the needs Diriange comes in, trailing 1-0 in the tie and going out on the road for the second leg.
Well, you'd kind of be surprised, but if they weren't making the changes and trying to get something done, they realize the desperation of the situation, and they know that they got to win this game to move on, and they're trying to do what they can to give their team an advantage. You mentioned 5 lineup changes for Diriange. Only 2 of those were forced by the suspension, so those coaches really trying to get all they can out of these players tonight.
Look at Gutierrez manning that right back position for Esteli. I was saying earlier how they've been so good defensively. Both them and Diriange have been the best 2 defensive teams in each of the separate seasons, the Apertura in the fall, the Clausura in the spring. You combine both of them, and Esteli only seeded 25 times across those two campaigns overall. Diriange, pretty good in their own right, only 27 goals they've allowed. Again, there were 36 matches played in the combined Apertura and Clausura seasons. So it just shows you how hard it is to find the back of the net when you play either of these teams, and that's only ratcheted up given that we are in a big derby setting tonight from the Estadio Independencia. Of course, it should be noted that without any fans, of course, makes the atmosphere a little bit different, James, as that is, I know we've talked about this in the past, but it's been the ongoing efforts by Liga Primera as the country of Nicaragua continues to protect its citizens against a possible coronavirus surge. But overall, they've been really lucky to see so few cases, and that's why Liga Primera remains one of the only leagues in the world still playing right now.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Them, along with Belarus, as we talked about the other night, the only two countries in the world right now that are still playing live professional soccer, obviously with no fans in attendance for the safety and the well-being of the public. But I think the Liga Primera is just fortunate at this point that they're able to keep playing, and they're doing everything they can to make sure and keep everyone safe while they can still continue the tournament.
Another foul in a pretty opportunistic area of the pitch. Fernando Loureiro, who has been such a fantastic goal scorer, he and Danilo Zuniga, each with 5 goals in the Clausura, tied for the team lead. Loureiro right now pleading his case with our lead official, Nitzar Sandoval, who should be pointed out that out of all the referees in Nicaragua, he is the official with the most daily matches called this year. So take that however you want to, but he at least has seen a lot of these El Tren del Norte players, and for that matter, a good amount Diriange. But the players will be familiar with him. As Garcia gets set to take the free kick, lofts it just a little bit too strong for the charging Fabrizio Tabano, and it's easily picked up by Espinosa.
Oh, yeah, good save there right by Espinosa. I think I'm a couple of seconds behind you here, Ben, but great save there that time for Ronaldo Espinosa, the 20-year-old from Managua in his second year with the ball club.
Another foul against the visitors from Diriange, and this time you get a look at Jorge Betancourt, who's been like an Iron Man this year for El Tren del Norte. This is his 38th appearance. When you think about it overall, 18 matches in both Apertura and Clausura. Esteli, they played 5 matches in the Apertura tournament last fall, and this is now the second match they're playing in this tournament in the semis after getting a bye through the quarterfinals. So you think about that overall, James, in a season that has featured over 40 matches, Jorge Betancourt has played in 38 of them. Not too bad.
Not bad at all. That's a wealth of experience. And if you think about the grind of an entire season, you mentioned the amount of games that are played between the Apertura in the fall and then the Clausura season in the spring. These guys are top flight athletes, and they have to be in top flight shape to be able to perform at this kind of a level deep into a tournament like this.
Second corner of the night for Esteli, taken by Henry Garcia. Good ball right in front of goal. Nobody could get the final touch. That flashed right across the face of Ronaldo Espinosa. And it stays, for the time being, 0-0.
Right in front of the net there. Espinosa, a great job. He was in good position that time and fended off the attack.
Second good chance from a corner for Esteli. Again, they lead 1-0 on aggregate after Oscar Acevedo scored just his second career goal in his 60th game with Esteli off the bench in the 74th minute Saturday in Diriamba. And
what a goal it was.
Well, you're right, James. It was a fantastic goal. And given that not only is this the semifinals of the Clausura, but also El Clásico Nacional, biggest rivalry in the country, a lot at stake. And as a result, a lot of viewers. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Beautiful 80-degree overcast night, but probably more comfortable for the players. These have been times, at least these last few weeks, temperatures frequently up into the 90s during the day, so it should be somewhat comfortable tonight. And we did get a viewer on our YouTube channel asking about the finals as well, wondering if they're two-legged, and they are. The finals will be played between the winner of this fixture is Managua and Walter Ferretti. Managua, the number 1 seed in the Clausura. Walter Ferretti, the number 4 seed. Those two teams drew 0-0 in the first leg. They're playing tonight in about 45 minutes. They start about an hour after this match at 8 o'clock local time in Nicaragua. That match being played in Managua. So the winner of these two will face off. It will be a 2-legged final. And if Managua were to win, they would get the home field advantage and would host the second leg. That's how that works in this Clausura tournament.
Yeah, we should be able to provide you with a couple updates probably late in this one on that game, and we'll check in and see how that one's going.
From Esteli's point of view as the number 2 seed, and really both of these teams, although I think for Diriange, James, more worrying about can they find a way back after being down 1-0, going back on the road on aggregate. But if you're Esteli in a pretty good position, at least as of right now, they'll be rooting for Walter Ferretti. That would give Esteli not only home field advantage in the final, but would also give them an automatic berth into the CONCACAF League's round of 16 tournament. The CONCACAF League is a club qualifier for the CONCACAF Champions League, and Nicaragua in Liga Primera, they get 2 of those spots into the CONCACAF League qualifying, and the order is given by where you finished in the overall table. They take the Apertura and the Clausura champions. So there is still something to be played for Esteli, even though they've already qualified by winning the Apertura. But if the tournament champions are split, meaning one team wins the Apertura, one wins the Clausura, the team that gets the automatic advancement into the CONCACAF League is the one that was higher in the overall table. And Managua did win the overall table this year.
Yeah, Real Estelí, a lot to play for tonight, not only to advance to the final, but as you mentioned, a lot on the world stage as well at stake for him here tonight.
And whoever ends up that second berth out of Nicaragua, they have to go through a qualifying round to get into that CONCACAF League round of 16. So a whole lot of different factors to keep straight, but the main one being if Esteli draws or wins, of course, tonight they will advance to the finals, while Diriange, a 1-0 win for the Cacique would send us to extra time as we'd be at 1 on aggregate. Any other win for Diriange would give them the overall victory and the advancement into the finals.
And we hope all of you folks at home got that, because there'll be a test here after the first half, right, Ben?
I know, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, we'll be keeping everybody peppered with those.
That's great.
Those possible, result outcomes throughout the night. I was going to ask you, James, we're about 20 minutes in, nearing the halfway mark of our first 45. Given everything we know and what is needed, especially for the visitors tonight, Diriange, they need something special. What have you made of the approach for the Cacique in the opening 20 minutes?
Well, we had a flurry of activity there when we got started, and then everything has kind of seemed to settle down now. Everybody's kind of dialed into the game a little bit, and I'm waiting for somebody to break one open here in a minute. I think somebody's going to put one in the net very shortly, and we'll have a goal on the board here momentarily.
And this ball headed back from Gutierrez. Good job by his teammate Manuel Rosas to cut off the charging Bryant Roman, young 18-year-old from Nicaragua. Maybe he can be a difference maker tonight. James, he's missed the last 5 games due to injury.
Yeah, he needs to step up tonight for his ball club, and they would love nothing more than for him to do that and help them get to a victory here this evening. Stepped it up, and he's back in the lineup, as we mentioned earlier tonight, for Real Estelí, and he's doing a great job so far.
Absolutely right. Henry Garcia. Crazy what a difference 2 weeks makes, right? The last time he was on this pitch was the meeting between these two teams, and he was injured just shy of the 30-minute mark on a really hard challenge in the middle of the pitch. Suffered a contusion in that match, but team trainers felt fortunate. Could have been a lot worse. And they held him out of the last 2 matches just to be safe. And he's now back tonight and quickly made his presence felt, picking up a yellow card in the 8th minute. That's really the only action on the ledger we've seen. Garcia going into the book. And we'll see another yellow card here coming in the 23rd minute. And it's Yon Mosquera, who is no stranger to card activity when it comes to this meeting. He picked up 2 yellows and a red card 2 weeks ago, picked up a yellow on Saturday night in leg 1, and now he picks up a yellow card in the first half for that challenge.
And we were talking off air, Ben. You said that 5 total yellow cards within a season will get you an automatic 1-game suspension.
For Mosquera, it's been 3 in the last 3 matches now. Actually, excuse me, 4. I shortchanged him 1. For Yon Mosquera, the veteran 31-year-old defender from Colombia.
And I would like to echo your sentiment that you made a little bit earlier, Ben. Thanks to everyone who's tuning in tonight. We understand that there's a little bit of a broader audience with us this evening. And I noticed the other night on Saturday during the semifinal leg, the first leg, that we had people tuning in from literally all over the world, Russia, Germany, not only in Central and South America, but all over the globe. So we thank you guys for joining us, and we hope you're enjoying this one here.
Anytime you have big-time matches, as we have tonight, determining a spot in a country's club championship round, a reason to watch no matter where you are, especially everything that's going on tonight, or has been going on throughout the last month or so with everything shut down. Hoping to provide some entertainment for you as we'll get another foul. This one right on the edge of the box, so it's the closest we've seen to a foul in the box, but it'll end up being a free kick and more cards coming out.
Yeah, that's Harold Medina down there for Real Estelí, and I'm trying to get a number on the player down. He seems to be writhing in pain there for Diriange. Get another look at it here.
Yep, the turn from Medina and gets crunched on the charge by Tulio Lopez, who did not play in the first leg. Lopez started 2 weeks ago in that 0-0 draw here at the Estadio Independencia, and he looked to get the worst of that, but he will go into the book. And now the question becomes, James, can he return? Tulio Lopez, the 24-year-old in his second season now with the Cacique.
Yeah, they both took a pretty good shot on that one there. It looks like Lopez seems to be sitting up at least now, which is a good sign for Diriange. I don't see the other player for Real Estelí quite sitting up yet, but they both took a pretty good shot there at the corner of the box.
Now that Lopez has found his footing, he will be greeted by the yellow card from Lisar Sandoval. So Lopez...
Making sure all his teeth are in, I think, there for a minute too, Ben.
Yeah, not a bad idea to do after that challenge. And Lopez becomes the first to receive yellow for the visitors of Diriange. And when this all clears, we will see the El Tren del Norte line it up from as good a spot as you can ask, right on the edge of the box. What sort of magic can the hosts come up with? A goal would almost end the tie, you would think, giving them a 2-0 aggregate lead.
Is this going to be Guarch on the kick?
I believe it is.
Oh, boy.
Also have the captain, Manuel Rosas, stands ready. But it looks like he will leave it to the 28-year-old Mexican, Taufik Guarch. Deflects right off the 3-man wall. It was Laureiro, the Uruguayan, has that deflect off his shoulder. So the wall does hold steady for Diriange, but still a corner. And good to see Medina, who just took that big knock a moment ago. Left-footed 18-year-old steps to the far corner flag.
These guys are tough. That was a heck of a shot they took on that corner right there, Ben. Good to see them both back in action.
Low effort this time. Looked like it hit a hand, and it did. Spotted immediately by both referee and players of Diriange on the other side. So back to the Cacique, who again need a goal on the road. Diriange, winningest club in all of Nicaraguan soccer. They've won 26 titles, but have really played second fiddle to Real Estelí, who have 13 titles, second all time, over the past couple decades. And in particular, Diriange, they went to a 13-year drought throughout the mid-2000s. Finally snapped that in 2018 when they beat Esteli in the championship match of the 18 Clausura. And since then, James, you've seen two teams who've been very close. But for Diriange, it's been close but no cigar. They've lost the last 4 tournaments in the semifinal round. And 2 of those have come at the hands of Esteli, while El Tren del Norte looking for their 5th straight appearance in the championship round of Liga Primera. They are 2-2 in those 4 finals appearances.
Well, Diriange is just simply trying to keep up with the Joneses right now, and in this case, the Joneses are Real Estelí.
And they have historically controlled this overall rivalry series. 53 wins for El Tren del Norte after the 1-0 victory in the first leg on Saturday in Diriangé, with 41 draws. 24 wins for Diriange, as you get a look at a former El Tren del Norte player, Cyril Arrington, who was a native of Diriangé, where Diriange is located, just south of Managua, the capital. It looks like a handball will be called. So we've seen a couple now whistled against Esteli in the last couple minutes, but this one in a much more advantageous spot for the visitors of Diriange, and it's the star striker Bernardo Loureiro who will tee this one up.
Loureiro in his first year with Diriange transferred over on New Year's Day, actually, of this year.
A free transfer was Loureiro from Cerro Largo in Uruguay, where he spent a couple stints playing in his home country, but no stranger to Liga Primera, and has been in some big playoff moments with Walter Ferretti, where he spent 5 seasons. What can you do here?
Fox
coming up
ready
on,
in goal there.
Yeah, Fox is ready. Here comes the free kick, and it just whistles over the bar.
Wow.
Good luck for Bernardo Loureiro. 56 career goals, nearly had a 57th.
Getting a look at it here, that one had some smoke on it. Right just over the top of the crossbar.
So Denver Fox, who is in his 9th appearance this season, played 5 matches for the injured Maradiaga earlier in the Clausura, and now replaces the number 1 keeper for Esteli due to his 4-match suspension. Looked like with his frame, probably would have had that covered, but as we saw on Saturday with Oscar Acevedo's strike getting past Ronaldo Espinosa, we've seen it's not necessarily enough just to get a hand on it with how much pace is coming at the goal.
Yeah, these guys are very experienced strikers, and they know how to put the ball in just the right place and have a ton of velocity on it at that same moment.
For Esteli, though, half hour down, just about an hour to go, as a 0-0 draw would be enough to see out advancing to the championship round. And in the Apertura back in the fall, when these two teams met in the semifinals, the 2 matches played out very, very similarly to what we've seen now through 120 combined minutes. Very tight back and forth. It was a pair of draws, but Esteli, they drew 1-1 on the road at Diriange. So by virtue of the away goal, they advanced to the finals, where they eventually beat Managua 2-1 on aggregate after extra time. So it just shows you how little separation there is between the two. And the question becomes, can Diriange find that crucial goal away from home to extend this match and make things interesting?
Yeah, Diriange needing to get at least 1 goal here tonight to advance. And if you're Real Estelí, you can't help but think if you're Coach Holver Flores, that you want to go ahead and get something in the goal and don't rely on just that 0-0 tie to carry you through. You want to assert your will here tonight and score a goal and make it a definite situation that you advance in.
It is that interesting cat and mouse approach too for both of these managers. Holver Flores especially his first year. You don't want to get too conservative if you're the hosts, Esteli at the goal. But if you're Flavio da Silva on the other side, who had to be stunned, his team conceding despite being up a man on Saturday. It was only the fourth loss that they had suffered under da Silva since he took over for the sacked Mauricio Cruz back in the Apertura season when da Silva had taken over. Diriange actually were last place. They were the bottom team in the table, and they went on a 9-win, 1-draw, 0-loss run to end that season before making it all the way to the finals and eventually losing to Esteli.
Well, it just magnifies the goal by Oscar Acevedo the other night for Real Estelí, down a man, and he still finds a way to put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, absolutely. And for da Silva, so I mentioned how he takes over mid-season. Of course, I should say they lose in the semifinals of that Apertura, but now what do you do if you're the 46-year-old Brazilian? You've seen the 5 changes, and the question becomes how aggressive do you have your team play without going too overboard and allowing yourself to be susceptible to those counterattacks. We'll see what they draw up here. Laureiro was very close, albeit from a much tighter position a few minutes ago on a free kick. Here he comes again. This ball, though, headed clear and out of play by Manuel Rosas for a Diriange corner.
And don't forget that Bernardo Laureiro scored the game winner in the quarterfinal for Diriange. So might have some magic up his sleeve still. We'll see.
That would probably be the leading candidate. You look at the body of work for Bernardo Laureiro, who gets ready to take this corner. Low ball looking near post, but don't want that one back. Trying to pick out Bryant Roman. And that's as easy of a corner for Esteli to ever defend. Nobody had to touch it as it hits the side netting. And another Denver Fox goal coming up.
Diriange now doing a nice job of keeping it on the Esteli end of the pitch right now.
And you would point it out too, James, especially in our first leg, even with no crowd and it feeling sort of eerie around the ground, it has not changed the intensity one bit. Both of these teams fighting tooth and nail. And after Esteli had a lot of chances and a few good looks from set pieces in the first 15 minutes, it's totally flipped. Diriange have had the opportunities, and after yet another handball, it's Bernardo Laureiro, the 28-year-old, who can line one up again in a very dangerous position. We'll see if he goes at goal here.
Well, if Esteli keeps giving Diriange and more specifically Bernardo Laureiro more chances, he's going to get one of them through.
Laureiro spent 5 seasons in Liga Primera with Walter Ferretti, the other semifinalist, facing Managua tonight. And Ferretti, a very solid team as well. Not quite the history or the success as these two teams, but he's played in big matches in the past. Here he comes. Again, just over the bar, and Fox goes crashing into the post.
Ooh, Denver Fox looks like he got hurt pretty bad on that one there. I didn't really see him. Did he hit the side of the post? Must have hit the side.
Denver Fox,
here we go.
On Saturday in the first leg, he fell in a similar position, although he crashed into the side netting. And it looked more like he had twisted his leg a little bit. They needed to give him a few minutes, but was eventually able to walk it off and okay. But there, kind of a half stumble right into the post. And
yeah,
I'm not sure. Straight match.
Here we get one more look at it. Oh, it looked like he actually hit his head right on the post. Wow. First I thought it was forearm bend that went into it, but it looked like he hit right dead center of his forehead. But he's up and at him.
Trainers looked to be wiping off his forehead there, and it did look like he was able to at least prevent his entire weight from going full bore into that post. Obviously, good to see him up and clearly okay, just needing a minute. And again, we mentioned this in the first leg, but especially the team up a goal as this one nearly falls to Betancourt before being poked away. And it's Betancourt who will be called for the foul and a yellow card as a result. A little too aggressive after losing that ball.
Yeah, going down hard on that one there for Diriange. Looks like, let's take one more look at it here.
That's the captain, Eric Tellez.
Eric Tellez, indeed. Number 5. So another yellow card there for Real Estelí. And we'll see if Diriange can maybe do something with it after we sort out the injury situation there for Tellez.
Starting to pile up, third yellow card already in the first half for Esteli. And as I was pointing out with Fox, there's something to be said, James, for some of that gamesmanship too, just trying to siphon up some of the time. We figured like some of that, again, he took that spill in injury time in about the 92nd minute on Saturday night. So again, you never want to discount somebody being hurt, but there was probably a little bit of a element to it there.
Sure.
And Esteli, they're certainly aware of the situation, knowing that the clock is their friend, and they'll do all they can to drain it out and advance to what would be, as I've said before, their 5th straight final appearance as they look for their 14th championship in club history.
Esteli now trying to take command of things here after, as we mentioned a few moments ago, Diriange pushing the pace here in the last few 10, 15 minutes or so, and really keeping it on the Esteli end of the pitch.
And it will be interesting to see with that newcomer, Brian Troman, how fit is he? That's, I think, a big question people are wondering who have followed the league, because he's been out the last 5 games, but a bright, young 18-year-old, a good attacking threat. But how much can you really expect out of a guy who hasn't played for a few weeks coming in such a huge spot? And we haven't seen him be too much of a factor tonight. In the meantime, though, it is Esteli who've won another free kick. You could probably ask the same question, James, of Henry Garcia back after missing last 2 matches with a contusion. He was so bright for the first half hour in the meeting between these two in the regular season here 2 weeks ago.
Garcia, another one that could possibly put it in the net for Esteli.
Good ball looking back post, but Betancourt couldn't quite square it up. Pretty good defense as well from a pair of the Cacique defenders.
Yeah, great job of that time by Diriange on defense, and Betancourt with a shot there in the middle, but just couldn't elevate quite enough to get a hold of that one.
So just over 40 minutes into the first half, second leg of the Liga Primera Clausura tournament semifinal between Diriange and Real Estelí. Again, Esteli leads 1-0 on aggregates after Oscar Acevedo's 74th minute goal Saturday night in Diriamba. So it's the visitors trying to make this one interesting. Couple chances for both sides, but so far no scoring.
Well, you got to be pleased with the effort so far from Diriange if you're Coach Flavio da Silva. They have done a nice job of attacking and not really giving as much ground as they did in that previous game.
There's a good amount of revenge as well, you would think, for Flavio da Silva, who is in his second stint back with the Cacique. Spent a year in charge. Kind of similar how he joined toward the end of that season. He took over for the Clausura in 2014 for Diriange and led the Cacique to a second-place finish, but they fell in the finals 2-1 on aggregate to Esteli. So now 6 years later, can he get some revenge on El Tren del Norte? Right now, they will need somebody to step up, and one player we have not mentioned because he's not with the team, James, is Sebastian Barquero, who was the only player from either team who elected to return home in the face of the coronavirus global pandemic. The league, and you do have to give them a lot of credit, they gave every player the option to return home if they wanted to. And most players, being from Nicaragua, decided to stay home and play. But Barquero from Costa Rica, a very talented 19-year-old who was on loan for Diriange. And so he went back home and is watching from his hometown of Heredia, Costa Rica tonight. So another one of those what-ifs for Diriange if they had his services.
Well, we say hello to him tonight, as well as all of our viewers, obviously. But, yeah, definitely a credit to the Liga Primera to allow those players the option to be able to do that, not putting any, I'm sure, not putting any additional pressure on them if they did want to say, hey, I want to go home and be with my family during this whole thing, and then maybe they have to care for a relative or something that might be sick with the virus. You never know what people are dealing with, so definitely a credit to the league for allowing that to be an option for these players.
This one scooped up by Espinoza. But should be said, the Cacique, the teammates of Barquero, they really did stand up for that 19-year-old. They stood with his decision, and there's a picture of them the next match in the face of, and of course at the time, a few weeks ago, so much unknown, and a lot of folks scared about what could potentially happen. And so the team actually lined up wearing masks and gloves to show their solitude for their teammate.
That's great.
Nice little interplay and a grab of the jersey. Will this be enough for a penalty shout? We see a yellow card coming, and where are they going to mark that foul? Certainly looked to be in the box from Kevin Gonzalez.
I'm sure we'll get another look at it here momentarily, but here it comes.
They are saying that tug happened just outside the box as he brought down Francisco Paz. And a fortunate matter of timing for Diriange, and probably one more pace. And Paz is in the box, in on goal, and is looking at a penalty. Still, though, a very dangerous spot as Esteli has a chance to essentially lock up this two-legged affair, already up 1-0 on aggregate. A second goal would be massive, to say the least, as Fabrizio Tavano stands over it.
Yeah, the last thing Diriange wants to do right now is give up anything to Esteli, as a big mountain to climb for them to get back in this one, is if they were to give up this goal here.
Tavano, though, right into the wall, out to Paz. That's off the broken-up wall. Still playing solid defense, helped led by Jonathan Zapata.
Nice little second effort there from Francisco Paz.
As we move into stoppage time, I'm not likely to have a whole lot, maybe a minute in this first half. Between Real Estelí.
+1 it is.
It is, and Diriange. A late corner earned, so maybe one last chance to put some body forward as Tavano comes over to the corner flag. They take it short for Esteli, trying to catch Diriange off guard. Again, a goal for Esteli. The hosts pretty much locks up this two-legged tie. Guarch scuffed that ball, but it almost fell kindly to Jason Casco at the far post. Instead, it goes through for a goal kick, and that will be the last action of the opening 45. Second leg of the Clausura semifinals. Diriange, the visitors, need a goal to extend this tie, or else Esteli will advance to the finals. James, your thoughts on the opening 45? A lot of factors at play. How did you see things playing out there?
Yeah, that was a tightly contested first half. We saw a flurry of activity there as we opened the ball game. And Diriange did a great job of pushing the pace there about midway through the half. But Esteli in command right now, you know, as you mentioned, up 1-0 due to aggregate. But we'll see what they have going here for the second half.
That is James Poovey. I'm Ben Wilson. We will step aside. Be back with our second half after this. It is Diriange 0, Real Estelí 0 after 45 minutes. Welcome back to the Estadio Independencia, where we have 45 minutes to go in our second leg of this Liga Primera Clausura tournament semifinal matchup between Real Estelí and Diriange. Ben Wilson back alongside James Poovey, so happy to have you along on this Wednesday evening. A beautiful night in Esteli, Nicaragua, the northern part of the country. Two best teams in Nicaraguan soccer history going at it tonight, but the big storyline, James, is the 1-0 lead on aggregate. Esteli with Oscar Acevedo's 74th minute goal Saturday night in Diriange have given El Tren del Norte the 1-0 advantage, and now the big question is, can Diriange find the overall equalizer? It was a pretty even
Ok, ya se puso a rodar el cuero en el Estadio Independencia. Arrancamos segundo tiempo entre el conjunto del cacique Diriange que visita hoy al Independencia en el norte del país, 152 kilómetros de Ciudad Capital, y es Francisco Esteban Paz el cuero, el que mueve el cuero. Por el costado se va la pelota.
And they're able to play a little bit comfortably, if you will, but they don't want to be too comfortable because they know that Diriange knows that it's do or die for them tonight, and they have got to get something done.
Well, teams with good chances in the first half. We also saw a good amount of cards as well. We'll see how that figures into the equation. Yon Mosquera, Jorge Betancourt, both picking up yellow cards, in addition to Henry Garcia, who was the first into the book, while Tulio Lopez picked up yellow as well for Diriange. Both
right teams, away now, Diriange getting after it here early in the second half. Kevin Gonzalez with a nice shot on the far side there a moment ago.
It was Larrero who tried to head it straight up for a teammate, found its way back to the Uruguayan, but couldn't get a clean shot on it. These are two teams, though, who were a little bit shorthanded, each having players suspended due to yellow card accumulations that they picked up in the first leg. Brandon Ayertis for Esteli, and Jason Coronel and Marvin Fletes for Diriange, while Richard Rodriguez, who had been in great form for Esteli, suspended one match due to the straight red card he picked up in the first leg. Right now, it's the visitors pushing forward, but a low cross, unable to find anybody in the box for Diriange.
Aggressive play here to open up the second half, but that's what you want to see when you're scoreless, and it's do or die right now in this game for both teams, essentially, but especially Diriange with the down 1-0.
After a foul, it is Bernardo Larrero. He's had a couple of good looks on free kicks as we do get our first substitution of the night. You see Jorge Vargas coming into the match for Tulio Lopez. There's Larrero. Pretty good ball, but the first head was from Manuel Rosas, the captain for Esteli. He has been so reliable on that back three, and he sends it out of play, or sends it up play, keeping Henry Garcia a chance for a little counterattack as Garcia presses forward to the edge of the box. You see the speed that the 28-year-old has on display. Nothing called after that big collision as both players go down. But Garcia, trying to lead the one-man counterattack, gets as far as the edge of the box before he's spilled onto the turf, and we'll see how big of an injury this is for both involved.
Well, that last play there, you saw one of the best defenses in the Liga Primera on display there for Real Estelí, and then they brought it the other way in a hurry. But now, a couple of hard injuries there, both teams right now. And those guys went down pretty hard right there on the edge of the box. So we'll see what happens after this.
Again, Garcia was injured 2 weeks ago tonight when these two met in El Clásico Nacional, biggest derby in Nicaragua. Danilo Zuniga, by the way, he's the player on the other side of that encounter, and that would be a big loss. So the fans of the Cacique hoping he can get up and walk it off, as he and Larrero have each tied to the team lead. 5 goals this season in the Clausura, and Zuniga 8 goals in the overall campaign as well, but he looks to be okay.
Now for Diriange, bringing it out.
But with Garcia, we had talked about it earlier, he'd been at the center of some pretty physical play, taken out of the game at the 30-minute mark when he suffered a contusion in the regular season meeting, and then wasted no time, picked up a yellow card in the 8th minute on a pretty hard challenge, and there collides with Zuniga. Again, these two teams fighting for a spot in the championship round, which will also be a two-legged affair between either Managua or Walter Ferretti. They kick off in just a couple minutes as it's crossing toward the middle and hauled in by Ronaldo Espinosa. So that's what's on the line tonight. And if things were to end right now, James, it would be Esteli would advance 1-0 on aggregate. We'll see.
And so far, Ronaldo Espinosa has done a great job in goal tonight against Real Estelí, not letting anything in right now because he knows the importance of this game. And as you mentioned at the end of the first half, one goal here by Esteli, and it's just about over for Diriange.
One indicator of how serious that Flavio da Silva, the first-year head coach in his second stint back with Diriange, understands, as a Betancourt chase attempts results in this being swung in but blocked out. But you look at what we've seen in the lineup for Diriange, James, over the past few games. They've had one player from their youth team called up to the big club each of the last 5 matches, actually. They've had like Daniel Martinez, Jeremy Rodriguez, Jefferson Munoz. That combination has started in a starting 11 position in each of the last 5 matches. Well, not tonight. They've gone with a full senior club, trying to get as much experience but also fresh legs as possible as Diriange, the visitors, try to climb the mountain, even though it's just that one-goal mountain, but of course easier said than done. Finding the back of the net on the road against the best defensive team in Liga Primera.
Well, the fact that Diriange is able to bring up those younger players from essentially their farm system and have them come up and be successful and be able to compete at this level, it just speaks to the depth, the overall depth of the ball club as a whole.
And Esteli, for their part, they've featured some youngsters as well, including the keeper, who brings that cross attempt in. Ended up being more on goal. Denver Fox starting for the suspended Henry Maradiaga, and the number 2 keeper for first-year manager Holver Flores, who, by the way, is the same age as Denver Fox, 22 years old, youngest manager in Liga Primera history, and I would think, for that matter, James, just about the youngest manager in any country.
I was going to say in professional soccer anywhere, maybe. 22, that's amazing, Ben.
But he has seen his fellow 22-year-old, Den Fox, perform admirably well in goal. And Esteli, their youth team, they're also holding the concurrent U20 competition right now. And the Esteli U20 side, they won earlier tonight, 5-1 on aggregate over Juventus to advance to the championship round of that. And Edgar Castillo, who we had seen feature pretty heavily in the Clausura. He scored 4 goals in 12 matches this spring after being called up to the big club for Esteli. He's not played, though, each of the last 2 matches for El Trento Norte and not on the team tonight. That's because they were using him in that U20 semifinal, and he did score in that match to help put away the 5-1 victory against Juventus.
I can't help but think, Ben, watching here tonight, especially with the great play over the last 2 games, really, of Denver Fox. Some of the younger kids that might be watching tonight in the Bluefields area of Nicaragua, thinking, hey, I could be a pro soccer player too. Look at Denver Fox. He comes right from my same area.
You're absolutely right. And Fox, a really inspiring story. Originally a basketball player, and Bluefield is known as one of the lower income parts of the country. That's what it's all about, though, giving hope for the youngsters. And a lot of those youngsters featuring heavily tonight for both teams. And a big moment, too. Biggest rivalry in the country with a lot at stake. This shot attempt from Laurero headed clear, but another corner for Diriange.
That was a great header there for Tofik Gawarch for Real Estelí.
Normally a forward, but he's playing back in defense now. Another ball in from the corner spot for Loureiro. Cleared out toward the far touchline as Garcia gives chase. Now you think about what an honor it is. Any of those teenagers we're seeing in the match tonight, you think about it for a player like Bryant Roman, who the 18-year-old back after missing 5 games due to injury, alongside Loureiro up top for Diriange. But to wear that black and white jersey of the Cacique, formed back in 1917, oldest club in Nicaragua, over 100 years now. How special that must be.
I can't imagine the feeling of just being able to be a part of such a long-standing tradition and a successful tradition of soccer in your home country. It's just got to be a feeling that you can't even describe.
Of course, for fans watching back in Diriange, about 3 hours south of Esteli on this Wednesday night, knowing they need some magic to avoid having the season come to an end. And it would be the 5th straight loss in the semifinals since Diriange snapped their 13-year drought of titles with their country-leading 26th title back in the 2018 Clausura when they beat Real Estelí 3-2 on aggregate.
Kind of volleying back and forth right now. Both teams right in the middle of the field. Now they're going to break it loose a little bit.
Harold Medina, the 18-year-old, giving chase, shoulders his way into the box. Good battle as the captain, Eric Tellez, ends up winning out, but still it's alive for Garcia. His shot deflected out of play, and a corner for Esteli. Tellez not happy. He thought there was a foul with Medina. Tellez, after being partly responsible for conceding the corner, able to head it clear. We've seen one substitution so far for Diriange with Jorge Vargas, the Colombian, in, and it's the second straight game he's been used as a substitute. Also saw him as a sub in the regular season meeting here in Esteli.
Jonathan Zapata, we're going to take another look here. He's going to get it right off the dome on that.
Ooh. Didn't catch that the first time, James. That's a good pickup. Now, you sacrifice all parts of your body in matches.
Indeed.
That mean this. Not only the El Clásico Nacional, but trip to the championship of the Clausura on the line.
And the CONCACAF implication, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast too, Ben.
Right, where Nicaragua, the Liga Primera, gets 2 teams into the CONCACAF League next year. Esteli has already locked up some sort of qualifying with their championship in the Apertura. So Diriange, they would need to come back tonight, down 1-0 on aggregate right now, then win in the championship to get that second spot. A giveaway ball coming in for Guarch, but a save made by Espinoza as Diriange a little too casual at the back. Nearly a disaster as Guarch had a chance to make it 1-0 and make it 2-0 on aggregate. We'll get another look.
Yeah, take another look right here. Tofik Guarch almost made him pay. They caught him just going to sleep a bit there, as you said, Ben, but they got to be careful with that. He almost snuck one in on him there.
And that was the former member of El Tren del Norte, Cyril Arrington, who is one of the 4 international players that you're allowed to have. That's the new rule in Liga Primera. You get 4 non-Nicaraguans on the roster. And so Arrington from El Salvador, but who's a naturalized Nicaraguan citizen, in his first season now with the Cacique, nearly a brutal mistake. Just never saw the speedy Guarch charging in on the center back Eric Tellez. And you see
Guarch has
Arrington
been close
right there
a few times tonight. You mentioned Cyril Arrington. He had 1 year with Real Estelí in 2017 as part of the Clausura tournament. In 17 games, he had 0 goals.
course, he's a defender. Don't want to be too hard on him, but you know, it's always a nice excuse if you do play in that back line. As we near the hour mark, still looking for our first goal. It's Garcia. Fancy footwork into the box. Garcia over the bar.
That ball has some speed on it there from Garcia. Looks like we have an update from the other semifinal game. 10 minutes in right now, Managua won and Walter Ferretti won. So that one's knotted up one apiece, Ben.
Fireworks early. They are inside 10 minutes and already both teams scoring. It was 0-0 on the first leg between those two teams. So right now, the number 4 seed, Walter Ferretti, they would advance the away goal. Of course, a lot of time left in that match.
Special thanks to our stat crew back in the broadcast truck, too, for that one.
Absolutely. Betancourt seeks it out on the edge of the box. But taken away by Bismarck Montiel. He's the other former Esteli player who actually transferred directly from Esteli to rival Diriange at the start of this season. Is able to get the clearance. And now Arrington, hearing the commentary of James Poovey and his 0 goals with Esteli in 2017, has a goal, has a shot from long distance, but well wide of the goal. Ambitious more than anything.
I'm not going to live that one down, I have a feeling.
That's a big development, though, in the nation's capital in Managua, with Ferretti getting that away goal. And Esteli, who feel like they're in complete control of this tie. Up 1-0 on aggregates again, getting the away goal on the first leg. If that somehow holds, if Ferretti is the team that advances as the 4 seed, it would mean Esteli would have home field advantage, similar to how they've had home field advantage as the 2 seed in this tie against the 3 seed Diriange.
That one's into the popcorn cart there, Ben.
Think it's out tonight, James? No fans allowed? You think maybe just have a go, you know, practice your craft, popping the corn?
Yeah, it's sitting up in there in the loge level. It's just sitting dormant right now.
They do have a nice baseball facility.
Yeah, I saw that from the helicopter view we had there during halftime. Pretty awesome.
So, you know, never a bad time to practice making popcorn, no matter where you are.
Certainly.
Especially in a 0-0 match right now, 63rd minute we go into, and you do have to wonder too what sort of subs we'll start to see. This is usually that 5-10 minute period of time where coaches make their big alterations.
Diriange, they got to pull out all the stops here tonight. There's no more tomorrow for them right now.
The Cacique brought in Vargas at the start of the half, replacing Tulio Lopez, who picked up the yellow card. So everybody clean right now from a card standpoint for Diriange. Esteli, they have a trio of players on the pitch right now who have picked up yellows, with Mosquera, Garcia, and Betancourt. And right on cue, we will see our first sub of the night for El Tren del Norte. And it is the hero from Saturday night, Oscar Acevedo.
Yes, indeed.
He came in for Brandon Ayertes. This time he comes in for Harold Medina. So Acevedo will slot into a central midfield role for Medina. A good shift for the 18-year-old in Harold Medina. I mean, his 18th start this season, but he comes out for Acevedo. And Abner Acuna checks in for Cyril Arrington, whose night comes to an end. That's an attacking substitution in for the defender, Arrington. So you can tell one thing is on Flavio da Silva's mind, James, and that is we need a goal, and we have about 26 minutes to find one.
Yes, we got to find it and find it in a hurry. And now if you're Esteli, once again, you're just going to kind of look at that clock and try to bleed that thing out as much as you can and advance yourself to the finals.
So you have Arrington, who is in a right back role, out for Acuna, who's played more in a left midfield role and will certainly push up the pitch. This ball looking for Guarch. Good spot edge of the box, but thumping ball booted away by David Jarquin. Has stumbled over himself as he sent it out of play. I think it might have taken a touch as well from Guarch, and actually they'll bring it back, calling a foul on Taufik Guarch.
Ooh, I don't know about that one there. That was a little close, Ben.
Yeah, look to just clip that cleat of Jarquin as he came through. Maybe a slightly heavy touch for Taufik Guarch trying to control the ball. But it stays 0-0, getting towards that last chance time for Diriange, trailing 1-0 on aggregate.
Who wants it more? Can Diriange get something going right now? Maybe catch Esteli off guard. Diriange's got to push the pace a little bit more right now.
You saw Jorge Vargas there a moment ago, 14 in the black and white. The sub at the start of the half for Diriange trying to push forward. And here he is now on the ball. Can a Colombian be the difference? Of course, Diriange, they're trying to ignore some of the recent trends as they've really struggled on the road like a lot of teams recently. Barrero, though, keeps it alive. Vargas would like to do better on that cross. Easy for Rosas to clear out, but a collision and a foul resulting in a yellow, and it looks like this will go on Diriange.
Jonathan Zapata with the yellow card there for the Cacique. Zapata in his first year with Diriange. His second stint, so he's been with them 4 years overall.
And you see there on second look, little tug around the waist of Henry Garcia. That's so tough to keep the speedster in front of you.
That's kind of like the pass interference call, Ben, to avoid the touchdown in football. Just got to be done.
Another giveaway, though. This ball takes a slight deflection off the boot of Tellez. Henry Garcia was screaming for it on the right side of the box. Again, it's he and Guarch in that front line. But for the second time this half, Diriange not really handling all of its bases on that back three.
No, they've been a little sloppy there on the defensive end lately.
Of course, they do have a heavy attack-minded lineup, desperately looking for the goal that would extend this match, but so far have come up empty. And more frustration as a little shove from the sub entering the game, Cunha, as he pushes Jason Casco out of play.
Approaching the 70-minute mark, Ben. About 20 more minutes left here for Diriange to try and find a goal.
Now, the bad news for Diriange, they have gone winless in their last 5 matches on the road. 3 draws in that span, but of course a draw tonight will not help the visitors. The Cacique down 1-0 on aggregate. And they have either drawn or lost their last 9 visits to the stadium, the Estadio Independencia, over the last 3 years. Hasn't been since Thanksgiving week in 2015 that Diriange won in a tournament format on the road at Esteli, and it was the last time they got a road win in this series. 1-0 win on aggregates back in the Apertura semifinals of 2015. It's been mostly Esteli who have dominated since then. They try to go to 6-2 all time in the tournament format in the meetings between these two teams. Just over 20
you can
minutes
tell
away
right now
from doing
Diriange trying to get something going on offense, but Esteli doing a great job on defense right now, and they're keeping them out.
You wonder too, James, it was certainly a trial by fire for Holver Flores, the 22-year-old, when they appointed him the manager at the end of the Apertura regular season, and he made it through with a more than passing grade, won a championship in his first real competition, the Apertura tournament, and you just wonder, Esteli, they've seemed like a team on a mission, playing so well. On the other side, only 1 loss at home in the Clausura, 3 wins and 2 draws in their last 5 coming into tonight. And they just seem to be so organized at the back. And that will always pay dividends in these two-legged affairs like this, where you need to score at some point if you want to crack through and advance, especially against Esteli.
Yeah, you got to have the goal scorers if you want to be able to advance in the tournament. And Esteli with a wealth of riches on their roster.
Here's some of the players, both down on the touchline and on the pitch, as well as the managers. They're the only source of noise tonight.
Gives it a little bit of environment, though. I like it.
And of course, everybody in Nicaragua still feeling fortunate to be able to play. As the country, they've been designated a level 1 country, which is the least impacted by the current coronavirus pandemic, but still to be safe, keeping fans out. You see a few of the event staffers able to sit in the Estadio Independencia, but obviously a far cry from the normal near 8,000 that can fill it.
Now, are you aware, Ben, if they're in full lockdown there as well in Nicaragua, or is it just basically like big public gatherings and sporting events are kind of a no-go right?
Essentially, yeah, the same thing as we've seen worldwide, avoiding the public gatherings, so they have not been in complete lockdown. But obviously everybody encouraged to be smart. That's, I think, the name of the game right now. A chance for Garcia to push forward. He's had a couple chances in the half. Henry Garcia stood up, though, well by Eric Tellez, the experienced captain of Diriange, and keeping Cacique alive for now.
The experience there for Tellez won out over Henry Garcia on that one there. Just 3 years difference in age there, but
and for international soccer fans, might recognize Tellez if you watched the Gold Cup back in 2017, which the U.S. men's national team, of course, featured heavily in. But Tellez did play in a couple of games. He's been on the Nicaraguan national team since 2010. With a foul taken here, Mosquera hits the turf, but it will be a free kick for Esteli as the clock continues to tick down on Diriange. The visiting Cacique still in need of a goal, down 1-0 on aggregate. And Mosquera helped up by Bernardo Laureiro. Everybody knows as you get into that final 15-20 minutes, James, certainly that some of that gamesmanship, the time wasting is going to be on display.
Yeah, somebody's going to be in slow-mo every now and then, especially if you're Esteli. Not going to be in a big hurry at all. Let that clock keep on ticking. Second closer to the finals.
In the meantime, we're here at 0-0 in the 73rd minute. It has been a goal fest in the nation's capital, where it is now 2-2. Just over 20 minutes in. Second leg between the top-seeded Managua and fourth-seeded Walter Ferretti, and they are 2-2 on aggregate after a 0-0 draw hosted by Walter Ferretti on Sunday. So right now, Ferretti, they would advance. That'll be something Esteli is able to hang on. Again, they are through with a 0-0 draw tonight on the virtue of their 1-0 win Saturday night in Diriange. They'll be paying a lot of attention to that match. And so, of course, makes his second substitution of the night. Marlon Lopez from Managua, the nation's capital, makes his entrance.
Well, some offensive fireworks for sure in Managua tonight, Ben.
There haven't been many fireworks across this two-legged affair. Of course, the fireworks have been really just one
Oscar
burst.
Acevedo, yes.
Off of the left leg of Oscar Acevedo. That might be enough, though, and sometimes that's all it takes.
You just got to win by one, Ben, right?
Absolutely right. Sometimes not even. Sometimes just the away goal is enough, which right now would be the difference for Esteli. If Diriange is able to score and this finishes 1-0 to the Cacique, we would head to extra time and then potentially penalties.
Uh-oh.
And they'll bring it back. Little skirmish out of our picture. Again, we saw a straight red given. And that's, I think, what Eric Tellez, he's really upset with our head official tonight, Nitsar Sandoval.
And Tellez is going to get a yellow now for a little bit of jaw in there.
Yeah, for that. It is into the book for Eric Tellez. The captain probably echoing a lot of the sentiments for the Cacique. We'll see if we can get another look.
Ooh, that was pretty good defense right there, Ben. Frustration definitely setting in right now for the Cacique. Obviously, we're scoreless here in the ball game. They're essentially down 1-0 with the earlier results. So the frustration is definitely showing itself here in the late stages of this one for Diriange.
In the first leg, for those of you who didn't see it, it was the 68th minute where an off-the-ball skirmish broke out and resulted in Richard Rodriguez picking up a straight red card. Another hard challenge. This results in a free kick. It's Acevedo this time. And he goes into the book about a minute after Tellez on the other side went in. So this is all when the magic happened in the first leg. You had
flurry of yellow, that's right.
He had the red card on Saturday night in the 68th minute to Rodriguez, and then it was Acevedo, who you see right there, number 23 in red. He had the goal in the 74th minute with his team down a man, and now in about the same spot of the game tonight, brings down Jorge Vargas.
Wasn't me, he said. Wasn't me.
Acevedo now in his 4th season, 61st career game tonight. If you looked at the reaction in Esteli, the people who cover El Tren del Norte, they were calling it un señor goal. I think I concur as somebody who watched that goal from Acevedo. That's the difference right now, but what can Diriange do? Good ball in from Laureiro, just took a flick up and over the bar, but it stays alive. Corner coming for the Cacique. Looked like Jason Casco, the center back, was able to flick that one up to safety. And as we enter the 78th minute, we'll see the final substitution as Luis Acuna enters for Henry Garcia. So a good shift overall for Garcia coming off the injury. Had a couple opportunities. James couldn't find the back of the net, though. Maybe the final third touch is not quite there after being out for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was great to see Henry Garcia back in the lineup tonight after coming back from that contusion. And you mentioned he had a couple of chances, but just unable to capitalize on those chances here tonight.
We'll see another corner, though, for Diriange. Denver Fox looked to be a little out of position, was aggressive coming out for that ball, but never got there as it was just shouldered out of play. Another corner coming, and for the second time tonight, Denver Fox slow to get up. As Laureiro, he's ready to take the corner, but let's see what happened.
Ooh, he fell on the opposing player's foot. It looked like
that was David Jarquin.
Lower back action there. That's going to hurt for about a week.
So the trainers attend to the 22-year-old Denver Fox, who did make his national team debut earlier in 2020. Of course, so Fox looks to be okay. Corner from Laureiro, another good ball, but it takes a flick up and over the bar. The official says last touch, though, by Esteli. So another corner. And the free kick, then the corner, now the corner, as it's Loureiro with a bit of pep in his step, the 29-year-old understanding what is at stake.
Yeah, Loureiro would love to put one in here.
Again, Diriange down 1-0 on aggregate. Needing
Had
a goal.
Chance right in front.
Flicked on and just wide of the bar. Inches away from leveling things up on aggregate. And it apparently took the slightest of touches off of an Esteli defender. Looked like Jorge Vargas was the first man up, though, to take it.
Yeah, Vargas did a nice job there in goal and was able to fend that one off, but a beautiful shot.
Another great ball from Loureiro, whether it's the outswinger or in-swinger. The lefty takes it. This one sent out to Danilo Zuniga. He'll try his luck. Another ball in the box. Blocked once, blocked twice. Another deflection.
Wow.
Sends it over the bar. As Tellez had the final crack. And again, Esteli somehow holds strong in defense.
Denver Fox in goal once again there, Ben. A great job in front of the net. A couple of chances there for the Cacique, but unable to get it in.
Diriange, they know the momentum's on their side now. Not his best effort on this cross from Loureiro, and a chance for a potential counter for Esteli. Some great chances over the last 5 minutes for Diriange, but still unable to find the netting, and they trail 1-0 aggregate. With now just, you would think, about 10 or so minutes, maybe a couple more when you factor in the added time left in the semifinal tie.
The pressure is going to continue to mount here for the Cacique. They know that the time is running out, and they got to get something done here quickly. And Esteli, as you can see, taking their sweet time and trying to bleed out the rest of this clock.
On cue, they go short with the corner, not wanting to give up possession. It's the newcomer into the match, Luis Acuna. Hadn't played in either of the last 2 games. The ball scuffed as Betancourt, the intended target from Acevedo, but ended up hitting an arm of a El Trendo Norte player, and a chance for Diriange to reset.
Acevedo got twisted around there a little bit. Lucky he didn't twist his knee on that one.
But a cheap giveaway from Diriange, right off the free kick. Sent right to Luis Acuna. Although it comes to nothing. You just get the sense, James, Diriange, all the momentum right now. They know they're on the front foot. Just a matter of can Esteli, more than anything, hang on over the next 10 minutes. Right,
yeah. The pressure really right now is on Esteli to make sure and hold off Diriange, because Diriange is able to let it all hang out now here in the waning moments of this one.
Taufik Guarch, again, looking to take some seconds off the clock. Instead of pressing forward, takes it into the corner. I wonder what your thoughts on the strategy are, James. Of course, a goal basically puts it away. You would be up 2-0 on aggregate. You feel like it's too early to go into that time-wasting mode, or would you be doing the same thing here if you were Esteli?
I'd kind of be doing the same thing, just kind of reset every now and then, maybe dribble it around a little bit, tire out that defense a little bit more of Diriange, but Diriange can't take too much time more off the clock. They've got to attack, try to get in there and get a steal, and they got to be a little bit more aggressive on defense so they can get it going on offense as well.
We just kind of look at that replay from the near goal, really the first of 2 near misses for Diriange. David Jarquin, who has not scored in his 46th now appearance in his career for the Cacique, was, what do you think, James, 6 inches away from connecting right on the goal mouth.
So close, right in front there, Ben. Another nice save that time from Denver Fox.
And fell to Acuna, kind of a half chance for the substitute from Diriange, playing for his hometown club, but didn't get much on it, just sending it on a hop to Denver Fox in goal. And a good job by Taufik Guarch to keep the ball in play on the far touchline. Looking for Betancourt, but he shouldered off the ball.
Guarch has had a number of nice plays tonight for Esteli.
So you think about that near miss, where Jarquin, all he has to do really is just get a boot to it, and it's in the back of the net. And then the subsequent corner that saw 3 different cracks with Fox basically sprawled out and the net essentially empty. You look at a sequence like that, James, you can't help but think, is it just not going to be Diriange's night, or tie for that matter, when you think about the opportunities they've had over the 2 legs? Certainly more opportunities tonight.
Yeah, I would agree with you right there, Ben. I mean, it's going to be tough for them to get another perfect storm, if you will, like they had a few minutes ago. And they had a number of chances right there, but just couldn't do it.
Acuna, edge of the box. Nice couple of dribbles as he works on Acevedo, the goal scorer in the first leg.
But let's not discredit that defense for Esteli. They're the ones keeping them out of there right now.
And Bismarck Montiel has a go from distance, but just curls that over the bar. The former Esteli player trying to find some heroics against his former club. But it stays 0-0 again, 1-0 on aggregate, the Esteli lead. Trip to the Clausura Championship on the line.
Diriange now able to hold it in to see what they can do.
Kevin Gonzalez, the left back, looks to press up the pitch. Acuna with a deep ball. Fox fumbled it a little bit, but they say a foul on Diriange, and the Cacique, particularly Bernardo Laureiro, beside himself for that call. He thought it was a fair 50-50 chance.
Yeah, Fox came out maybe a little bit too far on that one there. Nearly got in trouble. I didn't really see much on that one, Ben. Did you?
Yeah, Laureiro upset. It was, I believe, his teammate as well, in Luis Coronel, second half sub, going up. In addition, it's one of those, in all honesty, even though there wasn't much, James, you usually see the benefit of the doubt given to the goalie just about every time. So not too surprising that the call was made, but we certainly understand where the Cacique players come from in that position, where you're still in this trailing position down the goal with time running out. And it stays that way as well.
The wall's closing in now for the Cacique. Pressure mounting here. They got to do something.
Jonathan Zapata toward the edge of the box, looking for some interplay. Ellis, the captain, now pressing forward. This ball nearly comes all the way through. Not sure if that took a touch at all from Jason Casco, the center back of Esteli, but as that ball worked its way through some bodies, Denver Fox able to see it the whole way.
A great stop there by Fox. Once again, we get a look at it here, right in the middle. Fox had his eyes on it the whole time. Never let it out of his sight. Great save.
Luis Coronel, he was tracking that ball as well. Final sub of the match in for Flavio da Silva and Diriange. Coronel, should be pointed out, did score in this same round last year of the Clausura semifinals. Scored in the 7th minute in the first leg against Real Estelí. And Diriange, they led that tie 1-0 after the first leg, but Esteli scored 3 times at home in the second leg.
90 seconds left now, Ben, in regulation here.
As it stands, Esteli would advance in what would be as just about a low-scoring affair as you could possibly have outside of 2-0 ties back-to-back. But it looks like Oscar Acevedo's 74th minute wonder strike from about 25 yards out will be the difference. Not only that, but the fact it came with his team down to 10 men in the first leg.
Off the left foot, a beautiful goal as he crossed the box there, just across the top of the box, and he pinned it in the upper left corner, and it was beautiful. Esteli,
of course, you see them trying to argue, delay Bernardo Loureiro taking this free kick, while Diriange furious. They want play to continue, get on as quickly as possible, and we'll all be looking toward the touchline to see how many minutes of stoppage time we get. Right now, Loureiro, who had been that designated free kick taker, he ventures toward the edge of the box. Chipped in deep, takes one bounce in the box, and this one skied over by Zuniga. There were a couple appeals for handball, but didn't look like any of them were really, truly founded.
Yeah, desperation at this point.
Yeah, Piers James is though that ball from Zuniga. It looked like in real time he just skied it over the bar, but it apparently did take a touch.
We're going to get five extra minutes now, Ben.
5 minutes of additional time as Jorge Vargas steps up from the corner flag. Can't get it past the first man, though, for Esteli.
Once again, let's not discredit that defense for Esteli, doing a great job here. Holding out the Cacique.
Yeah, as Vargas tried to send another ball in. To your point, there's a reason why Esteli have only allowed 25 goals combined in now over 36 matches this season in both the Apertura and Clausura seasons put together. You really have to earn every goal you score against El Trendo Norte.
Very tight match tonight and a tight semifinal the other night.
Yeah, just 4 minutes left in stoppage time here. Esteli winning 1-0 in the first leg Saturday in Diriamba. With the winner.
March tackled there by number 17 for Diriange. Kevin Gonzalez,
right, who came up and had that probably half-hearted knock, all things considered. When you think about some of the fouls we've had over the two legs.
Little form tackle there, Ben.
Yeah, the foul on Guarch, but gives him a chance trying to burn some time, chipping it in for Acuna. And Acuna right now has absolutely no desire to go toward goal, just trying to see things out.
Little keep away now.
Francisco Paz briefly in control, but sees it taken away. 5 minutes again of stoppage time, and 3 of those minutes remain. Winner to face either Managua or Walter Ferretti, who are tied right now 2-2 going into halftime on aggregate, and Ferretti would advance due to away goals as they've scored 2 on the road in the first half of that match tonight.
We'll see if we can get an update on that other semi here for you before this one's wrapped up.
Will there be one more push for the Cacique? It will be their 5th straight loss in the semifinal round. Esteli trying to make it their 5th straight appearance in the final. Fox able to collect.
The confidence from Denver Fox is amazing. He comes out just 22 years old, but plays with such confidence.
Nervy moments tonight, but he's stood tall in goal. Has come a long way since his appearance about a month and a half ago. He started in net while Maradiaga, the top keeper, was injured for Esteli, and saw his team lose 2-0 at Diriange in Diriamba. So you think about the strides Denver Fox has made in a month and a half since. Just about a minute and a half.
And the big shoes to fill for Denver Fox coming in for Maradiaga, so just very impressive.
Henry Maradiaga, again, he's serving the 3rd of a 4-match suspension tonight, so he'll be missing the first leg of the final. That is played.
Now here's the question, Ben. You got Denver Fox on a hot streak. Do you put Maradiaga back in there if it comes to that second leg game?
Right. And that is what Holfer Flores, the 22-year-old himself, will have to decide. Now, you'd think they'd go back to Maradiaga, the 30-year-old with so much experience. He was named the best keeper at the 2019 Apertura tournament. But it is a good point you make. Not having played will have been for 4 games. As we're into our final minute of stoppage time. 0-0 in this match, but 1-0 on aggregate. Real Estelí with the lead overall. And so the hosts now just trying to play keep away and see this one out. And frustrated, tired looks on the faces of the Cacique, who have given it their all tonight.
And they'll be looking at a 3-hour road trip back home.
Out for a goal kick, as Marlon Lopez couldn't keep it in play. Final 10 seconds to go. How lenient will Nitsar Sandoval, our official, be? The answer is...
Not very.
That's it.
Oh, that's it.
Sandoval blows the whistle as this one comes to an end. No goal scored tonight, but that means a win for Real Estelí. All the El Tren del Norte needed was a draw of any kind, and they get it tonight. Good chances for both sides, but neither able to find the back of the net. There was a flurry between the 75th and 85th minutes. A few glorious chances for the visitors, Diriange, but the Cacique could never find what would have been an equalizer in our overall match. And James, it's Esteli who advanced to their 5th straight final in the Clausura tournament.
Indeed. Congratulations to Coach Hover Flores and the rest of the Real Estelí squad there. An outstanding game tonight and a great defensive effort from them tonight. You mentioned their prowess within the Liga Primera, and it was on display here this evening. A lot of chances for the Cacique of Diriange, but just unable to capitalize on some of those. They had a flurry of activity when we opened the game. A lot of action there towards the end of the first half, and then you mentioned the 75th to 85th minute, a lot of action there, and we thought maybe Diriange could find something in that time frame to get on the board, but just unable to do so, and credit to Real Estelí for another outstanding effort here tonight.
You saw Oscar Acevedo just a moment ago, number 23 in red. He will also again be remembered as the hero tonight, even though he didn't have a part in any scoring in this match. It was his 74th minute goal in the first leg for the substitution, Oscar Acevedo, that ends up being the difference as Real Estelí advances to the final to face either Managua or Walter Ferretti. Those two are tied right now 2-2 at halftime. So we'll see who ends up prevailing as Esteli now turns their attention toward the final. 5th straight tournament in Liga Primera. They've advanced to the final. They'll be looking for their 14th win in team history in that matchup while Diriange season comes to an end. Their 5th straight loss in the semi-final round. James, despite not having any goals tonight, a lot of fun, though, over these 2 legs, and to see the back and forth between 2 sides playing, always interesting, more than just a singular match, to have the chess match literally that takes place between the 2 managers trying to find their way through these 2 legs and get to the final. It was a lot of fun, at least for me to watch. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh, yeah, it was a great time. I had a great time doing the game with you, Ben, and over these last 2 games, really. And it was great to see the chess match back and forth. Both these teams know each other, a storied history between the 2, and they really gave it all in the semifinal. And congratulations once again to Esteli for advancing, and congratulations as well to Diriange for making it this far.
Absolutely. Great display put on by both teams throughout the last 4 days, as we say so long. I want to thank again my broadcast partner, James Poovey. I am Ben Wilson saying good night. Again, our final score tonight, it's Diriange 0, Real Estelí 0, as Esteli advances 1-0 on aggregate to the championship match of the Liga Primera Clausura tournaments.
No, pero o sea, que yo no me iba a callar. No, parece que estaba en la oficina de la liga o estaba en su casa.